Hello and welcome to Inside the Women of Denver, where leaders share their successes, failures, and lessons learned on the journey to success. I'm Krystal Covington and I'm here with Amy Collette, professional book coach and author of The Gratitude Connection. Amy's mission is to help other people understand the power of their unique story, something that I am so excited about sharing with you today. She is also the host of Positively Powered, a podcast available on iTunes and Stitcher. And when you get to know her, you will understand exactly why you need to tune in. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Krystal. It's so fun being here with you.
Yeah, I am very familiar because I've listened to your show a couple of times. I've even been on it, so I'm such a fan. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the additional things that you do? I told a little bit, but talk about being a book coach. I'm sure most people are like, what is that? What do you do?
Okay, so first I'm going to share with you my secret mission, and that is to raise the positive power of the planet, the positive vibration that we all have. We can all help with that. So that's my mission. So everything I do kind of fits in with that mission. So the podcast, I talk to speakers and leaders and authors about what incredible, great things they're doing to make a difference in the world.
Yes, that definitely raises the vibration.
Yes.
And that is a very powerful, if you're B school person, you know, BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. That is definitely a big, hairy, audacious goal.
It's a big, hairy, audacious goal.
Yes.
So part of that is my book coaching too. So I wrote a book called The Gratitude Connection, and it's a very positive book about how you can raise your own vibration, how you can change your habits day to day to change your perspective on life, really. So it helps with depression, stress, all those things that we deal with every day that we think just come with life. Yeah. Well, those are choices.
Oh.
So I also help. Yeah, exactly. Oh no, I have to take responsibility. So I also get to work with some amazing authors who are writing about whatever they're experts in. Yeah. So professionals who have all this experience, all this wonderful insight in their brain, I'm helping them bring that out in a book to the world, so that they can.
It's tangible.
Yeah, it's tangible.
Awesome.
Hold it in your hand, or hold it in your Kindle, or wherever. Your phone, however you get that content. So it goes and spreads their message in an astronomically greater way than they could just one-to-one. Yeah. So that helps raise that positive vibration too. So that all fits in with that mission. And you're helping with that too. You're on my podcast and doing
fun.
Women of Denver.
So what would you say is one of the things that drove your passion to start doing this? I mean, it's definitely a unique role. I have never met a book coach before, so you're the first. So how'd you get into it?
Well, it's interesting. Thank you for asking that. It's, you know, we all have a little windy path to where we eventually get to in life. And mine included being a professional writer and editor for many years. Then I also explored my own spiritual growth, and I became a certified light worker, which is another way of saying a coach.
Okay.
And so I married those two things together when I wrote my book and went through the process. I've come out with 2 versions of my book, so I've been through it a couple of times and learned all those painful lessons, and I was working with other writers to edit and publish their books. And I realized that publishing a book isn't just about the writing. It's not just about the editing and getting everything perfect and your coverage is perfect. It's about you becoming an author, stepping into a new role that maybe you haven't done before. So it's about shedding all those fears, just like with public speaking, putting yourself out there on the stage of, you know, being a little vulnerable and being much more visible in the world as an author. Your stuff, that's out there forever, you know, and so it's walking through those fears and helping people get through that process to really step onto that larger stage.
Yeah,
and
that
be an
is
author.
Definitely one
So
of
that's
the
where
things
the coaching.
Yes, that is definitely one of the things that I've found that holds people back. Yeah. There's so many people out there that they really would love to write a book, but they feel like it has to be perfect. They feel like they have to have the perfect story, the perfect 4-step process. You know, so they hold it for years. I was at a seminar recently, and they asked, who in here has wanted to write a book for 2 years or more? People raised their hand. They said, okay, keep standing if you've wanted to write a book for, and they keep going up and up, and then it goes 10 years, 15 years, and there are still people standing.
Right.
And they say, why didn't you write your book?
Yeah.
And when they asked people in the audience, it all came down to perfection. Don't feel comfortable putting myself out there yet.
Right.
Yeah, so what is the biggest way that people can break through that? I mean, is it a step-by-step process they have to do, or is there something really major they can do one time that just changes all that?
I wish there were a magic pill like that.
Where's the magic?
I found with the people I work with, Krystal, it's so different. It's across the board, but it does come back to what you talked about, which is that sense of not being enough. Yeah. And so I think there's a process of helping people understand that you're complete as you are. All your flaws, and maybe you've got a misspelling in your book. Maybe your book is not going to be perfect, I'll tell you right now. We're going to try to make it as perfect as possible, but there's always going to be something that is, you're going to discover after it's in print. Learn to live with that, and that's okay. But the real value of writing your book is sharing your unique experience. Nobody can tell your story like you do. Nobody has your experience. Nobody has the insight that you can help other people with. So a lot of people I work with, they're scared, but they feel somehow compelled to tell their story, to share that story so that they can empower other people. And so that is really a motivating factor in a lot of people's process.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is just a process. You just step through it. It's just, you get past one fear, and then it opens the door to another one, and you just keep walking through those doors. And eventually you're an author. So.
Well, great. Okay, so you talk a lot about gratitude.
Yes.
And that's one of the things I most value. I will not tell you that I am always finding myself feeling gratitude, but
right.
It's a priority. So how do people learn to prioritize gratitude in their lives? What is a practice they can do to have more gratitude in every day?
I'll share a couple. I'm sure everybody's heard, about giving gratitude writing it down in a journal. I started my gratitude practice in the morning and in the evening. So when I went to bed, I would think about all those things that I was grateful for during the day. And when I first started, I thought, I don't have anything to be grateful for because I was in a bad place. And I thought everything was terrible. But when I started thinking about the things I was grateful for, a pretty big list started coming to me. So that was great. And then in the next morning, I would wake up. It's a great way to start your day. And just think of the people you love. Think of your family and your friends, and anything that you're passionate about, your work or your play or your art or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And there's a lightness that starts to happen. And then a way to bring that into the world every day. I love to start my day with thank you emails or phone calls. Just a thank you for something that happened the day before. Somebody held a door for me, or somebody sent me a nice note or invited me to something. Just starting out with that, with the attitude of facing the day that way. Yeah. Starting the day with gratitude. Thank you, Krystal, for that awesome Women of Denver workshop last Thursday. When you start out your day that way, it brings an energy into your life that just starts building and starts building and starts building. So even if you start from a down place, mm-hmm. it's going to lift you up. Yeah. And it's going to keep bringing more of that good energy into your life. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Earlier
so
today,
those are easy ones to start with.
Well, great. Yeah. Earlier today, I wrote 4 thank you notes to people. It is hard these days to write. My wrist it just doesn't like it anymore.
You're used to this.
All right, so since you are the Gratitude Connection speaker, podcaster, book coach, I want to know, what do you love most about your life? I mean, you're all about helping other people raise the vibration of the world and have gratitude and just overall be better. So what do you love about being you, and what are you most grateful for in your life?
That's a big question, Krystal. Thank you for asking that. I'm grateful for a lot of things, and I'm really grateful most of all for finding a gratitude practice so that I could be a more positive person. I used to be a grumpy morning person. Oh. Now I'm one of those obnoxious, like really energetic, hey, how you doing? People in the morning.
Well, good for you.
It annoys you people who like your coffee first, but that's okay. So I love that about my life, is just that mostly the energy that I can bring to my life, because what I found through my gratitude practice is that I was focusing on one thing that was going wrong in my life, and I was missing out on this huge richness of the rest of my life and my relationships and everything else that was going on, my beautiful home and the beautiful Colorado that I live in, and appreciating the mountains and all of that kind of stuff. So finding the positive power in that helps me really bring my passion out to help other people write their books and get that energy out. And it's just such a building, expansive thing that I get to appreciate that every day. And so I feel like my personal mission is to make sure that I appreciate those things every day, and I just keep expanding that awareness.
Yeah.
And just keep growing that.
That's so beautiful. I love that. I love your positivity and the gratitude that you talk about, everything that you bring to the table. So now I want to talk about something transformational. Okay. What is one moment that's been transformational in your life, and tell us the why behind that?
One moment that was transformational. The first thing that pops into my head is the moment I met my husband.
Oh, I love that.
To talk about love for a minute.
Lovey-dovey for a minute, yes.
So I was kind of a skeptic about love. I really never intended to get married. I had never seen it work, so I couldn't imagine that it would work for me. So I really was focused on, going to school and my career and that kind of thing. And then I met this fabulous man, and it was literally love at first sight. It was definitely very much like at first sight. So we've been together almost 3 decades now, and he has had an incredible effect on my life. He's a very, very positive, outgoing, extroverted, happy person. And you can see it's made a difference for me, yes, because that living with him and learning those skills has made a big difference.
Yeah. I remember you told me about him before. We were talking about our husbands, and our husbands are both extroverts, uber extroverts. They've got to meet someday, but I don't know, maybe
it could be dangerous.
Maybe they'll talk for 5 hours. We don't know. It's a little bit scary there. How do you handle being married to an extrovert?
Well, I'm kind of, like I was explaining to you, I'm kind of in the middle of that introvert, extrovert spectrum. So I'm very comfortable walking into a room and introducing myself and getting to know other people. But I also love my alone time. I love my walks by myself in nature, and just journaling and writing as kind of a solitary pleasure. So I get to do that a lot. But he has also given me some really great skills, like you mentioned about your husband, where he has made me more appreciative of being social and really making those deep connections, because that's really what it's about.
Yes.
In life and love and business, it's about connection. It's about making that personal relationship and finding out about people.
Yeah.
And how you can connect on some level.
That is one of the major things I learned from being married to my very extroverted husband, is basically, how to really connect with people, how to be social, how to walk into a room and command it and seem like the fun one, Just all those little tips, and a lot of it is just by watching and being involved.
Yeah, and you are the fun one.
I am the fun one now. I wasn't always. So tell us a few tips. what are some of your favorite tips to share with people who want to get started with book writing, or they just want to be like you? They say, oh my gosh, Amy, how can I be more like you? What are some tips that you would give people to reach their goals, be more successful, find the motivation to get where they're trying to go?
Another big question. For authors, I always tell them, you've always heard that thing about write what you know, and that's true. But the piece that makes it really connect with people is your story and how you connect with that. And so that's what I always try to help people do, is bring their own story. How do you know this awesome information that you want to share? How did you come by it? And what was the pain involved in learning it? Because there's usually some failure or mistake or misstep that helped you come to some realization. And everybody that you're talking to has had that same experience. So that's how you connect with them. So the other part of that is know who you're talking to. Understand who your audience is and what they need. It's really about what they need more than what you need. So it's always about serving. When you're building a business, when you're creating personal relationships, it's always about how you can serve and what you can bring to help that other person.
So Amy, can you leave us with one great final tip before we end the show?
Sure. Krystal, I guess for people who want to write their book, or even if you just want to connect more deeply in your life and in your business relationships, your love relationships, family, whatever it is, allow yourself to be vulnerable. Sometimes when you bond with somebody, it's over something silly or funny or even painful, But sometimes when you allow that to happen, you allow your vulnerability and you allow yourself to be a little more visible and take down those barriers a little bit and really connect with people. That's going to enhance your life. It's going to make you write a beautiful book. It's going to build your business relationships, or however you want to use that in your life. But that's my final tip.
Perfect tip. Thank you so much. Well, this was very, very, very enlightening for people who want to learn to have more gratitude, to live a better life, write their book. So many great tips in this show. So thank you so much for being here with us, Amy, and I hope to see you again on the show.
Well, thank you, Krystal. As always, it's fun to be with you. I always enjoy what you do with the Women of Denver, so thank you for all that you do.
Thank you for watching Inside the Women of Denver with me, Krystal Covington, and the beautiful Amy Collette. I hope to see you again soon. Always remember that you deserve to be seen, heard, and known. See you next time.